Do you use your own vehicle as part of your job? If you do, you could be eligible to claim a mileage tax rebate. Some people don't know they can claim mileage tax relief for some or even all of their work-related journeys. It doesn't matter what your job is. If you travel to different places of work and have paid tax in the year of your claim, you could be eligible to claim a mileage tax rebate. HMRC requires you to follow their specific mileage tax relief rules and expects you to claim back what you are entitled to from them by using either an online I-form, AP87, or a self-assessment tax return. It's important to understand what HMRC classifies as business mileage to a temporary workplace. Normal commuting to one permanent place is not classed as travelling to a temporary workplace and is not allowable. To be eligible for business mileage, you generally need to be driving to temporary places of work and spend no more than 24 months at any one place. Different rules can apply to different situations, which means it's always best to check if you qualify before trying to claim. HMRC has its own definition of a temporary workplace, and understanding it is key to successful mileage claims. HMRC defines a temporary workplace as somewhere you work for a limited duration or temporary purpose. There are some other elements to this explanation, but the time spent at a temporary workplace is a crucial factor. HMRC usually classifies a place of work temporary if you attend it for a period of continuous work, which lasts or is likely to last for less than 24 months. HMRC typically determines a permanent workplace as somewhere that you spend at least 40% of your working hours. You are not entitled to claim tax relief on travel expenses to a place of work HMRC deems to be a permanent workplace. The amount you can claim back from HMRC depends on the type of vehicle you drive. The government has approved mileage allowance relief rates, which are car or van, 45 pence per mile up to 10,000 miles, 25 pence over 10,000 miles. If you carry a passenger in your car, 5 pence per passenger per business mile. Motorcycle, 24 pence per mile. Bicycle, 20 pence per mile. How much a mileage tax rebate claim is worth depends on the highest rate at which you pay income tax, which is usually at 20% or 40%. A mileage tax rebate example using 10,000 business miles. 10,000 miles at 45 pence per mile equals £4,500. Mileage of £4,500 at 20% tax relief would typically result in a tax rebate worth around £900. In this example, if you are a higher rate taxpayer paying a rate of 40%, you would receive tax relief worth 40% of the value of your mileage claim, equaling a tax rebate worth around £1,800. If you receive a mileage allowance payment from your employer, this will need to be taken into consideration when calculating your mileage claim. Some employers pay mileage allowance payments tax-free, which means what you are paid by your employer needs to be deducted from your claim. Employer mileage allowance payments that are taxed along with your salary wouldn't normally need to be deducted from your claim. What records do I need to make a mileage tax rebate claim? You'll need an accurate and detailed record of your mileage. This includes dates and the location travelled to. What else you need depends on your circumstances. If you're paid a mileage allowance, payslips or timesheets, showing the number of miles driven would usually be acceptable. How far back can I make a mileage tax rebate claim for? HMRC allows taxpayers to make claims for the last 4 tax years, but if you don't claim within that timescale, you will typically miss out on what you are owed. You can make a backdated claim for mileage for more than 1 tax year at the same time, up to a maximum of 4 years. Do I need to fill in a tax return to claim mileage? There are 2 ways you can claim back your mileage. How you claim depends on the amount you are claiming back. Mileage claim above £2,500. Claiming an amount of this size for 1 single tax year needs to be declared on a self-assessment tax return, alongside all your other income and any other work-related expenses. You should register for self-assessment by completing a Form SA1. HMRC will then send you a 10-digit UTR number and give you access to the self-assessment system so you can submit your tax return online. If you already complete a tax return for a different reason, you should include your mileage claim in the employment section of your SA return. A mileage claim below £2,500 will normally need to be made using a P87 form or an online I-form. You can include multiple years claims, up to a maximum of 4 tax years, on the same form. The P87 Employment Expenses form is available to complete online, so you can download and post it to HMRC to the address given on the form. You can get access to the Form P87 or an online I-form through .gov.uk. HMRC expects you to provide your mileage records with your claim as supporting evidence. You can use your personal tax account to check for updates on the status of your claim. The time it takes the tax office to refund any mileage tax rebate can vary, depending on the timescales they have. At the time you make your claim, and if they need to request any further information from you. Will my tax code change if I make a mileage claim? HMRC can change your tax code automatically after a successful mileage refund claim from the previous tax year. HMRC can adjust your current tax code to include the same value as the previous tax year's mileage claim. This is done by HMRC, so you receive some or all of the relief you are due for mileage by paying less income tax as you go along during the current tax year. In reality, this may cause issues because your mileage may, in comparison, be different from the previous tax year, which will mean you either won't pay enough tax or too much. If you think that your tax code is incorrect, you can contact HMRC to allow for any necessary adjustments. You can find out more about tax rebates and use free tax calculators at taxrebateservices.co.uk. The content used in this video is intended for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute advice. We recommend that you do your own research on each subject and take advice from HMRC or a professional tax advisor.